Mko ndani, testing, mic check. Andika hapo chini uniambie kama wanisikia. Proper. Tuko watu wa 6. Tunu TV, certified child of God, namuona. Haya, tunaanzia, you know what we do. First segment, drop your names, drop your locations. Kupande gani ya Kenya? Karibuni. Robert Kimani, yuko pande gani? Elisha, thanks man. Kupande gani? Honest opinions ako thika, asanti. Paul Nginyo ko LD, asanti sana. Nakuru, Ink King Nakuru, karibu. Commons ako Juja, karibu. Tunu TV coming from Isiolo, asanti. Elijah ako Rescos, asanti. Rescos Dagoretti. Evans GFX. Gilgil. Haya, Arnold Jenga naona nasema uko Lang'ata, karibu sana ndani ya nyumba. Rix Ogosha. Ogosh ako UK, karibu sana. Robert Kimani ako Githurai 45. Santi sana. Share link. Tuanze mapema. Shoka ndogo ako Bongo, ako Da. Karibu sana. Moz ako USA, Raf Moz, karibu. Elisha unasema niongee Kalonzo and Uhuru. Okay. Nimeandika. Share like bana kwa watu 45 na kupata loud and clear. Keep up. Santi, God's favor. Dogo. Dennis Wakungu, karibu. Tunu TV. No, I was sharing the link. I was tweeting it. Sorry. Kwa sababu nyinyi naona hamshei ya kutosha. Collins Mutugi, Meru, asanti sana. Kuna mtu wa Embu hapa? Tuko 40. Tufike so, shieni tap the screen alafu mshare link. Tufike so moja. Mnanisikia? Mniambie kama mnanisikia. Ona tuko 54 sasa. Twende. So tukifika 5 minutes tuanze. Nimechelewa kwa supposed kuja 10, but because of unavoidable circumstances. Kama mnanisikia hapo, Santi Commons, thank you. We're 62, let's go. So, umeona the last 1 week has been very challenging to Kenya Kusha government. Asante sana Armstrong. It has been very challenging, especially juu ya hii mambo ya fuel venye waliongeza. Joyce Koech, karibu. Venye waliongeza fuel and the tide has been against the Kenya Kwanza government. Now Uhuru has been in Dubai, akakuja immediately, kakuja wakashikana na Kalonzo wakaenda sijui Mwingi kufanya harambee sijui wapi, then suddenly amekuja kama ameactivate his propaganda machinery. Akiongea tu hivi, then immediately Kimani Ichung'wah na Moses Kuria have jumped in because they were looking for a distraction mechanism. Yeah? They already jumped in, and then mi nikaanza kujiuliza, anytime momentum against Kenya Kwanza ikianza kushika, Uhuru is always the first to come and distract our attention. Sijui kama mtu amenotice hivyo ama ni mimi tu nimeona mambo yangu. Because and I'd told people about it earlier. Hear me out. The first time tulikuwa na the first maandamano ya Azimio, well, Kenyans, because unakumbuka ile time walikuwa wanajifanya ati sasa ndio watu wako pamoja na watu wa Nyamakima. Rigji alikuwa ameorganize watu wa Nyamakima nini. Though it was very emotive. I remember I was in a certain restaurant. Bet chairman wao Nyamakima akaniambia kesho maandamano ikikuja sisi tutapigana na hao watu. Walikuwa there was a lot of ethnic mobilization. Ukiuliza hao watu wa Nyamakima, if I'm sure now they are regretting why they didn't take part in those maandamano. But anyway, so that was the first maandamano. Sijui kama ilikuwa April. Uhuru akakuja na kiside show kia Northlands imekuwa raided, so all the media attention moved from maandamano ikaenda Northlands. Unakumbuka watu wakaenda huko, hata baba mwenyewe akaenda huko, sijui nani akaenda huko. Watu wakakuja TikTok, wengine wakaanza kulia. Unaona huyu ni peasant, hata hajui kule maji, hajui kule chakula itakuja, anakuja online analia, yeye mmechukua mbuzi za mama ngina. Utaona nonsense. So all the attention moved from maandamano and the worthy cause that it is or it has been, and then it went to Northlands. All the attention ya sasa media, because Uhuru knows how to play with the media very well. He has a standby propaganda team. Ile pesa yote yaliiba, the 4 trillion that he stole, a great percent of it ametumia vizuri in keeping a well-oiled propaganda machine that he was able to influence public opinion. So nikashindwa, what's happening? Kwani ni nini imeibiwa huko Northlands? So everyone seems to think that sijui Kenya Kwanza were behind it, but Kenya Kwanza are just idiots. They weren't able to communicate well at the time. But in my mind, Keith, unataka niseme nini? Keep me, nipatie update. So in my mind, I thought, and mimi sikuangi wrong mara mingi. In my mind, I thought that Uhuru is the one who staged that incident. And he did it why? To disrupt the momentum of the maandamano. So who was the beneficiary of this distraction of attention? Who was the ultimate beneficiary? Ruto. So it can only go, without saying that they could be working together behind the scenes, clandestinely. Probably even not directly. Sio ati wanaongea directly, but kuna mtu behind and were direct in such a way that even though they are fighting with a common objective. Huyu ako pande hii, lakini huyu pande hii. Uhuru's work probably is to suppress the opposition, control the opposition, ili tukuwe na control opposition. So Peter Maina, unasema nini? So haya, now that was the no, please Seychelles walichapwa majuzi, wakachapwa sijui 90 juzi. kwa qualifier juzi. So winning against Seychelles should not encourage or turn anyone into thinking that it's a dawn of a new era. So chill. Hiyo ilikuwa the first one in April. Then tukakuwa na maandamano ya pili. So baba alikuwa ameenda Poland akakuja, then momentum started building venye alitoka airport akakuja hivyo tuna hivyo, then kukakuwa na now the second wave of maandamano. Sasa hii watu walikuwa shanza kuchill, walikuwa they had started warming up to the idea of maandamano. Was it in June? Was it in May or June? Then what happened? Ndio huyo Uhuru tena amekuja, eti mtoto wake ameshikwa, amenyang'anywa guns. Sijui mtoto wake anakuanga na hobby, their work is shooting birds in Mwea. Sijui kama ulisikia hiyo story. Their work is shooting birds in Mwea. Hii family with wildlife wanakuanga lazima wafuatane na wildlife, lazima wakue pale mbele, lazima wakuwe on the forefront pale wakicheza na wildlife. So all the attention moved from the second wave of maandamano ikaenda kwa Uhuru na mtoto wake, sijui wamenyang'anywa gun, sijui wamenyang'anywa sijui madereva, Mama Ngina amenyang'anywa dereva, amenyang'anywa security. All the attention moved there. Are you seeing a pattern? Are you seeing a pattern? Unaona hapa it cannot be a coincidence. If you believe in coincidences, then you must be also part of the bandwagon, because me, I don't believe in coincidences. Eti maandamano ya kwanza imekuwa successful, lakini just when we were about to reach the objective, ndio hiyo story ya Northlands ikakuja, media yote ikaenda Northlands. Juu media nao wamechizi na Uhuru, ni kama amewaroga. Ukiangalia ma headlines za Taifa Leo, they are still jacking themselves off. They are still having wet dreams about Uhuru. Immediately amekam tu divert stories. Haya, hiyo ya pili, momentum imeshika sasa. Twende kwa Uhuru. Uhuru amenyang'anywa guns, mtoto wake amenyang'anywa guns, Mama Ngina amenyang'anywa nini? Amenyang'anywa security. How is that any of my concern? Afroman karibu kutoka Seattle. Karibu, nangoja hizo mavitu, nangoja urushe hizo mafloat bana. Unajua kuna madolari. Usikue kama madiaspora wa kuwatch nyako, usikue kama these diasporans. Amjui vile mnachorewa huku na Kenya kuisha, kazi yenu ni kunyonga na mavideo kule TikTok na nini, nyongeni tu. So anyway, this guy just always seems to appear whenever Kenya Kwanza is going through struggles, is going through some element of mass action, lazima atokeleze. So hiyo ni ya pili amekuja, ameshika paka akaita editors wote, all the editors were called to his house. Akona nyumba pale tunaitanga Caledonia pale karibu na State House. Pale madhe yake alikuwa amegrab hapo, pakona nyumba alitengeneza. So it cannot be a coincidence. Sasa amekuja last week. This guy has been in Dubai. We've been living peacefully. We've not been anywhere associated with his toxicity, because I told you Uhuru is a very toxic bastard. Uhuru, anything anafikirianga ni toxicity. Hata ukiangalia zile matweets zilikuanga volatile za akina Mutahi Ngunyi, it's Uhuru who used to compose those tweets, because he's a very toxic guy. Anakuanga na his attention needy. His attention needy. Angalia huyu Elvis Kimathi na ujinga. Elvis Kimathi, you must be one of those diasporas who watch Nyako's live, because ati Uhuru is west, Ruto is east. Ati Uhuru is east. Hii watu ni wazungu. Kwani ile pesa Uhuru ameiba? You are not reading the Pandora Papers. Hauku read anything. You never appraised yourself on where he has hidden the money. Unafikiri hiyo pesa ameiba iko China? Iko kwa wazungu. So haya ndio hiyo sasa last week amerudi kutoka Dubai. He's been in Dubai. We've been living our best life. Asanti mtu wa Austin gaming booth, asanti. We've been living our best lives. and then amekuja ameenda church, wameshikana na Kalonzo, wameenda Mwingi immediately, and then ametoka hapo juu ya sunroof. Juu nyinyi ni kama mmechizi, mnapenda tu kuona politicians juu ya sunroof akimwambia nonsense, akimwambia garbage. Wameenda wameingia na helicopter sijui wapi, then all the media there, and then Uhuru ndio huyo amesimama kwa sunroof ameanza kuongea, why are they blaming me, why are they, he's coming to defend his imaginary legacy. Amekuja ati kujidefend. Who wants him to defend himself? Mtu wa nyamazi, ameenda retire. Sasa utashinda juu ya gari miaka 10, umeshinda juu ya gari, juu ya sunroof ya gari, and then in retire unashinda juu ya gari. Uhuru, nini mbaya na huyu mzee? Si urudi Dubai, si go back to Dubai where you were. Now I'm of the opinion that Uhuru and the Ruto presidency was a well curated and calculated scheme by Uhuru. Uhuru alienda akajiinsinuate kwa baba, suppressing him as an opposition figure. Do you understand? Uhuru na toxicity zake walishikana. Uhuru was with a guy called J Muturi and another guy called Wafula Chebukati. Those are the three thugs. They conspired. And it is very simple. This is not rocket science. Ukiangalia what happened, they tinkered with the election laws, tinkered with the constitution of IEBC. They made new laws, new regulations overnight, where they ended up blocking presidential candidates. There was Ekuru Aukot, there was Jimmy Wanjigi, there was Ruben Kigame, there was hao wote wakablokiwa. Why were they blocked? And it was the first time they were being blocked in history. And yesterday I also said it, that even during the height of the Moi dictatorship, Wangari Maathai hakuwa nakosa kwa ballot, Koigi wa Mwere hakuwa nakosa kwa ballot, George Anyona hakuwa nakosa kwa ballot, Martin Shikuku hakuwa nakosa kwa ballot. All of them vying to be president. Charity Ngilu, the first time she became a presidential candidate was 1997. Mwizi huyo Charity Ngilu is a thug beyond measure. Mungu alitusaidia hata hakuingia, because mama vile ameiba ministries, ameiba Ministry of Health, ameiba Ministry of Water, ameiba kule Mwingi Tanzania alikuwa governor. But anyway, the first time she ever vied to be president was 1997 and nobody stopped her. Mbona Jimmy Wanjigi walikuwa wanasimamishwa? Mbona Kigame walikuwa wanasimamishwa? Sijui ati hauna signature, hauna nini, hauna IDs. Upuzi. Who created all these rules and laws last minute is Uhuru. Akaenda akajiinsinuate pande ya Raila, akaingia kwa opposition. We had now what we call controlled opposition. He controlled opposition. So these guys became so docile. These guys became so docile. They were not doing. Raila was not in his true element as an opposition person. And then Raila lost a lot of votes because of association with Uhuru. Because Uhuru alikuwa amechoma Mount Kenya. Alikuwa amechoma kutu kwingi sana. So the voter apathy, which led to 8 million people not participating. Manduku Maina, Asanti, mepata kakitu. So the fact that there was so much voter apathy, the fact that people, stayed away from the elections, 8 million Kenyans boycotted the elections. Another 4 million, because they had been fatigued, they had been worn out by the political process. Tulikuwa tumetoka lockdown and curfew and then nini. And then these guys were just tinkering with the laws. Wanatutumia tu picha leo, kesho wanatuma tu picha tuingine tu upuzi. Yeah. So these laws were tinkered with and were changed, and the new rules were introduced within the last 1 year of Uhuru's presidency. Wakiwa na Uhuru na J Muturi, so they blocked all these candidates. Now, if Ruto won with 200,000 votes, hizo votes zingekuwa absorbed by akina Jimmy Wanjigi, by akina Ekuru Aukot, by akina Kigame, au ndio wangeabsorb hizo kura. And so they were blocked. Because if they would have absorbed those votes, then there would have been a runoff. And who would have won the runoff? All these other candidates, I'm sure, would have aligned with Raila Odinga. But Uhuru was a factor. Uhuru ni alikuwa ana mislead. You understand? Sasa juzi tumekuwa na mambo ya fuel has been on the rise sahii tumeanza kukuwa na good conversations about our future. Ndio huyo Uhuru out of nowhere he's come to bring us his toxicity. This guy man, this guy man, he disgusts me. Haizi kaa huko alikuwa na broker gold huko Dubai. He can't just stay there. Akiona Kenyans we are having a conversation. Asante sana the blessed, nimepata Kakiru, asante, thank you. Akiona we are having conversations and he's not part of them, lazima akuje. That's the problem with this guy, man. This guy is disgusting. Akiona tu watu wameanza kukuwa na conversations, guys are starting to chart their own future in his absence, lazima akuje. And he's already activated a plethora of propagandists. And then sasa propagandist wa hao wa Ruto wanaanza kupelekana back to back na hao wa Uhuru. Now uliona jana, immediately if you want to know this is a propaganda operation, you unaangalia immediately who started from the Kenya Kwanza side to troll Uhuru ni Kimani Ichung'wah and Moses Kuria. The two people who have been their only role in the Kenya Kwisha shit show is propaganda. I told you Ruto's government is more about propaganda. It's smoke and mirrors. There is no delivery, there is no performance. I told you even David Ndii is not where he is because of his economics. If he was there because of his economics, he'd be doing better. He'd be performing what he has been talking about for the last 10 years. But no, he's there for the propaganda because he has a lot of his significant clout on Twitter. He can shape the conversation. He can tweet and then he'll trend, and immediately he trends, he goes on these platforms which are for toxic bloggers, things like Kenyans. He's on Tuko. Immediately, wanashamweka memes. David Ndii has said this. So it's a scripted, it's a well-oiled machine. So the moment uliona jana ukaona Moses Kuria na Kimani Ichung'wah washaanza kuengage na Uhuru, and then ukaanza kuona, kwanza uliona tweet moja ya Kimani Ichung'wah akisema, my brother Kalonzo Musyoka, you know we have been together in Bomas and you are with Uhuru, now it's good we start talking about state capture. What nonsense are you talking about state capture? We are talking about high fuel prices. We are talking about everything, the high cost of living. That's been our agenda. Why are they dragging us into a state capture narrative? Because this is all they think. They go and sit down in a committee kwa boardroom, wanasema tufanye hivi, sasa tupeleke Kenyans hivi. So the Ruto presidency is a brainchild of Uhuru. If you are still in Azimio and you think that Uhuru is part of you, you are lost. You're mad. You're crazy. Uhuru is saa zote when we are just about to make conversation, to make progress. To make progress in our conversations on how we are going to shape the political future of this country. Ndio huyo Uhuru ameingia. Ndio huyo ameingia, bloggers wote wako hapo. Sijui ni nani alimwambia kuje, sijui ni nani alimwambia aende Harambee. Tena badala ya kwenda Harambee angepatia Kalonzo pesa. So there is something hapo, these guys man. So you kama wewe unafikiria ati Uhuru na Ruto wana fight. No. If they are fighting, immediately Ruto got into office, his first agenda would have been kuokota ile pesa Uhuru ameiba. Uhuru and everything, he would have made an effort to to harmonize or to activate whatever Jimmy Wanjigi has been talking about, the debt position. Ange David Mwaure. Sasa wewe ni nani Dave G kusema mambo ya Mwaure? Wewe nonsense. Taki wazee, unatuambia mambo ya wazee nini? Kwa mzee anaweza tusaidia na nini wewe? Chabangi. Nonsense. So if you think that Uhuru and Ruto are fighting, you got something messed up in your head. Kwa sababu everything that Ruto is doing is shielding Uhuru. Na nilimwambia this year, if you look at the headlines, NCBA is making the most money this year. True or false? They are posting, they are posting the big Edgar Adonis, karibu sana. Mawama, painkiller diaspora. Hey, NCBA this year wame overtake KCB. How comes NCBA is more prosperous now under Ruto than under Uhuru when he was the president? So what happened in July? On July 13th, what happened? No, July 10th. Northlands airstrip was approved by the Kenya Civil Aviation Authority. Amuoni sasa, hao ni watu wana fight. Sora Hassan, karibu. Nyinyi mumeuzwa, mnachezwa hivyo ping pong. Tumekuwa na good conversations, tukiongea mambo ya fuel, tunaongea nao these guys unaona now is become a national agenda. Okia Omtata amekuja na mambo yake, everyone is talking. Raila ameongea, hata leo pia aliongea, and ndiye huyo Uhuru amekuja na tupuzi twake na tu nonsense twake na tu mafi twake. It's a long con game. Because I don't understand why Uhuru cannot retire. I don't understand. Yeye alienda akajinsinuate paka akakuwa ni yeye chairman wa Azimio. He repulsed a lot of people from Azimio. Kura mingi baba angepata, watu walikuwa nasema like me, I said no, I can't. Ndio siwezi chagua Ruto, lakini pia pande hii siwezi chagua Uhuru kama ni yeye chairman wa Azimio. So Raila lost a lot of ground because of association with Uhuru. So this is a long con. This is a long con. We are being played over here. So will you see it? Will you see it, or will you assume that all of these are just coincidences? Kenyans in diaspora. Unajua Kenyans in diaspora nimekuwa nikiwasomea sana because I've been kuna video nilikuwa nimeona, ngoja just a minute. Uhuru in diaspora in America. Mko hapo? Karibuni. Ngojeni kidogo. There is a video I'm looking for. Uhuru the first time alienda akapatana na diaspora, ilikuwa ya 2013. Nilikuwa nataka nimuonyeshe vile diaspora Kenyans mko down. You guys were drooling over him. I don't know where I'll get that video. Anyway, Uhuru in America. Haionekani hiyo video. Anyway, I wish I could find it. I wish I could find it. Uone mahali Sean John Analytics. Unaniambia ati rubbish from me. Sean John Analytics. Sean John Analytics. Elvis Kemathi, so you are more clever than Baba and his team. This is my opinion. Whether you take it, whether you don't, that's up to you. Whether you consume it, that's up to you. Mimi sasa, how would I Me, I just give my opinion of my analysis. Eh? I just give. Asante sana David Chege, nimepokea kakiru, sasa nimepata energy. Najua mtu kama hajapata kakitu hana energy. Sasa David Chege huyo ametuma kakitu kutoka Seattle, asante sana. Elvis Kemathi, I'll sort you out kidogo kiendelea kuongea umafi hivi. Sijui kuna mahali Uhuru alikuwa amemeet Kenyans in diaspora. Sasa sijui kama ilikuwa hii video. Mulikuwa mnaonanga alikuja huko Stato. Mulikuwa mmeona kama ni mtu wa maana sana. Mulikuwa mko down, mulikuwa mnani piss off. Kenyans in diaspora. Walikuwa wamegojea mahali Uhuru. Hiyo video sijui kama ilitolewa. Walikuwa wamegojea mahali Uhuru akimwambia Munene tuadelie tugaidhie. Asante sana Mr. J here Mark. Asante sana, huyo anaonekana ako Kenya. Karibu sana, karibu online. So anyway, acha tuache hiyo maneno. We will. Kuna video moja ya diaspora, it was so pathetic. Ungeona wa Kenyans hapo, they were almost dying over him. Uhuru, Kenyans mkiwa diaspora. Nikajua propaganda imemuingia, and I told you there is a way that the content in Kenya has been manipulated to influence you in the diaspora, so that you are not focused on the key issues, you are just focused nilikuwa naongea mambo by the way, nyinyi mnachomanga. Jana juzi nilikuwa ka live hapo saa 2 nikiongea mambo ya Lingoge guy. Imeingia TikTok, imeingia Twitter, imeingia mpaka nimeiona kwa Edgar Obare. Jesus, it's crazy. Pale tu niliongea juu yake. Nyinyi watu mnajua kucapture the most toxic part. I wouldn't want to be known that I am, profiling her, or that's not the agenda. The idea here is to keep people woke, that the content you're consuming, it may have shadowy sponsors. It may have shadowy sponsors to keep you distracted. The blessed ako Massachusetts ametusalimia, asante sana kwa kutuma salamu, the blessed. So I didn't want to appear like I am profiling her. I'm not profiling her, but the content that you have been consuming over the last couple of years, I think it has been sponsored with a deliberate objective to distract your attention. Asante sana Mr. Ndisho, karibu kutoka Doha, karibu. So it has been, kuna venye iko curated, the content is curated. Isaiah Awichi, asante sana, karibu kutoka diaspora na kuona. Hapana, huyo ni kama ako Dubai. So ama Australia, I think Awichi ako Australia if I'm not wrong. Rahimtula Omar from Essex, UK. So there is a way the content ile mumekuwa mkiconsume, because I saw somebody from diaspora saying that they are so busy, they are so overworked, and so they don't know, wao wanakuja tu wana watch content. Nilisikia kuna mtu mwingine sijui anaitwa nani, nilisikia nani mwingine, kuna mtu mwingine niliambiwa jina yake, hebu nikumbusheni hapo down. So you come and watch this. So mtu mwingine aliniambia that he watched something so funny, he laughed. Huyo ni Rafmoz, asante sana. Asante sana. So the person was telling me that he laughed so much he had forgotten how to laugh. I told you the last 10 years have been a very curated cycle of the Uhuru presidency, because Uhuru was stealing a lot of money. For him to do that, he needed to manufacture a lot of consent. In that process, he had to distract the most important component of the Eric Dolphia Kojuja Karibu. He had to distract the most important or significant component of the Kenyan, the Kenyan population, which is the diaspora. And when I talk about Lynn Ngugi in that context, it's not the fact that she's pushing content. It's not, I'm not hating on her everyone, sijui hatuwezi criticize kitu like when I did my Mr Beast I was criticized. I don't know why we cannot criticize Muturi Asante from Gatanga. I don't know why we cannot criticize without being labeled as jealous. Now I have no business, I don't have hata sina hiyo mbegu ya jealousy inside me, because we are not competing for the same eyeballs. I wish even if she was a fashion blogger, even if she was a what or somebody else, and the mainstream media also have, also acquired the same, trajectory. They are following some very toxic and polarizing stories. We are always on the edge. And if you ask yourself, so I saw somebody, some Iranian guy who does parkour. By the way, me when I'm looking for content, I'm all over. So there's this Iranian guy who was doing parkour. So I went on his Twitter, and then he said that he has been meditating and he has had to take himself through another spiritual journey, which will now he has the same happiness as he had when he was a child. Are you getting what I'm saying? When was the last time you were happy? When was the last time you experienced that happiness as a child? When was the last time? You probably cannot remember, because you look at everything in the media in America is the same. If you look at everything is just designed to keep you in a constant state of anxiety. So you're always on the edge. You look at now, like when we had this Israel-Palestine war, Americans, the content walikuwa nafidiwa, already they had believed we are going on World War III. Already you guys were sold. You believed that there was going to be World War III. The stakes are too high for World War III to happen. They are very high right now. Everyone wants business. Everyone wants prosperity, some element of prosperity. You saw the Chinese president Xi Jinping is in America, alienda huko, and he's a very smart guy. What he did now, he stopped talking now to the middlemen. Who are the middlemen? The middlemen are the politicians. The politicians now, they're not the ones who control America. America is Mrs. Lambistic huko Saudi Arabia. Asante sana, karibu. The politicians are not the ones who call the shots in America. America is the corporate bosses. Martin Gure, asante sana. America is a corporate. So Xi went there, akaongea. He had a dinner and all the corporate officials were called. Akina Elon Musk, the Larry Fink of BlackRock, everyone, all the key people. Those are the guys who are calling the shots. Anawambia, I'll give you a piece of the pie. I'll give you a significant chunk of the Chinese market. And then they participated together while time ya COVID, China, America. I don't know what happened. I don't want to be in a conspiracy. Hapa nianze kubaniwa sijui nini. Because unajua siku hizi ukiongea mambo ya COVID una nini, but China, America. So they saw if Apple Tim Cook was also at the dinner. Yes, Apple President Tim Cook was there. Ndio hiyo skekovole, asante kwa kutuma salamu. Umesindikiza, asante sana wherever you are. Thank you very much. Bernard Mogare, what is your question? Sijakulenga, sijaona. Unajua hapa vitu zinakuja mara mingi, so swali yako by the time una post labda ime disappear. So nobody wants World War III. Who wants World War III? These guys are capitalists. They are here to make money. But the media is tooled in such a way to keep you on the edge. Now, when I was talking about the creators who are feeding you with negative energy, I told you this was a deliberate move because Uhuru is naturally a very toxic person. Nasikia, Uhuru is very toxic. He just feeds people with negative energy. And so it was not a coincidence that at the time when there was a great destruction in Kenya, where we had the greatest heist as regards to corruption and bad governance, is also the time these negative energy content creators blew up. Again, they are never coincidences. Now, if you read from 2013, you read something called Cambridge Analytica. Cambridge Analytica, they came here. It was a company which was wired to tune, and they poisoned our democracy. Because of Uhuru paid them a lot of money. If you saw those hidden videos, unajua walienda wakashikwa na The Telegraph in the UK, and they were bragging how they influenced the Kenyan election. Their work was to play around with the Facebook algorithm. Zuckerberg had given them the access to the back end of Facebook so that they manipulate whatever. And so, if you remember in 2007, there was a lot of emotions. It was very emotive because the content you are seeing, first of all, they are manipulating. Yes, they are manipulating the algorithm, but now you need an outlet, you need an avenue now to release Uhuru's toxicity. So the avenue was these creators that you were following. Yeah, it was these creators that you guys were following, because I told you I have never seen such levels of psychophancy where people were walking from Thika. People walked from Thika all the way to Ishaweri. Anyone from Thika here, if you're online, ebu niambie kama uliona hiyo maneno. People walked. Can you imagine the distance? Ati wakaenda kusema, oh, it had been prophesied, it had been prophesied by Mogo wa Kifiro, it had been what? So for you to put people in such a heightened state of euphoria, there needed to be extreme propaganda. And so Larry Madowo wrote an article. I don't know whether he wrote it for Forbes or one of these international, or CNN. I think he wrote it. I think he wrote it for CNN, that Cambridge Analytica poisoned our democracy. They had access to the Facebook algorithm, walikuwa na access ya backend, so they were literally manipulating what you were consuming. You see where we are going. So if that was happening, there was some element, significant element of control with the creators. Now let me tell me nakuanga nimeona mbali sana. There is a creator mimi nili ati there is no good or bad publicity, you're giving him airtime. Wewe na wewe. There is no me. They know that I cannot be giving good publicity to anyone. Whether it's good or bad, we are here to learn. We cannot move forward if we don't know where we are coming from. We cannot move forward and you are still aloof. You're still burying your head in the sand. You are still not able to decipher the news of the day. Like now immediately jana niliona Uhuru amekuja, ameanza kutrend, wameanza kurushiana maneno between Moses Kuria and Kimani Ichung'wah. Immediately I knew here the Uhuru has come to distract attention from everything that we are talking about here. We've been having good conversations about fuel. We've been having good conversations about the laws. Unaona Kenyans on Twitter were able to push KRA to backtrack on the laws that were going to be influencing you people coming. Ukikuja pale ati uko na simu mpya lazima ulipe tax, lazima ulipe duty. We were able to push them. Now, who else has the capacity to come and disrupt the momentum? It is nobody else other than Uhuru. Wakikuja huku wanaanza mock cockfight. We call them mock cockfight. Mad, throwing mud at each other with Moses Kuria. You know, they are like pigs. The more they fight, the more they get themselves in the mud. So immediately niliona Uhuru ameongea, then Ichung'wah na Moses Kuria wameongea, then I knew huyu Uhuru ametoka Dubai, amekuja Kenya kudisrupt momentum ile Kenyans wamekuwa wana build against the Ruto regime, and they are working together. Whether you believe it or not, that's your problem. Now, we cannot chart a new future. We cannot map a new destiny for the country if you are not alert to these shenanigans. I will keep on repeating it. I did a very big video talking at the time with my old TikTok account. Ilikuwa fire, ilikuwa imeonwa na watu wengi, and still even today you're not able to connect the dots. So how will we liberate you mentally? How do you want me to help you? I don't have money to share with you. I don't have content. I'm not here to twerk ili munyonge. Mimi siwezi fanya hivyo. I know you can get like now there is this chick who built a house for her mom. She's called her TikTok account was banned. Anaitwa nani, Njoki Murera. And she twerks on social media. So I cannot offer the same package to you. I'm here to keep on repeating in the hopes that mtashika kitu, but the more I keep on talking, the more you're becoming ni kama mshikanishi. What's happening? Eh? What's happening? So in my last video I did something, nikaona mtu wa propaganda amesema, yes Kaido, I'm sorry, I'm also one of those people who consume. Like, you've been consuming curated content meant to distract you. I've told you, this government is just thinking about exporting labor. Nakutafutia kazi Germany, natafutia watu kazi wapi? Saudi Arabia, because they have seen that they can survive on loans from IMF and World Bank and from remittances, because I told you they steal in dollars. They need to change their money when they are shipping their money, which they have stolen, to American banks, to wherever the banks are. They have to take the money in dollars. So they have realized that all we just need is to send Kenyans out there to diminish opportunities in the country, and so that Kenyans are jobless and desolate, so that they can go in Germany, they can go where you are still working for the state, the Kenyan state. You're still working. Every time you're sending money, you're doing what? And every day they are looking for laws, they are looking for loopholes where wanataka sasa pesa salary yako ukiwa huko nje. Kama wenye wanaenda na hii serikali, utaona pesa yao itakuwa inakatiwa huko, wenye wanapelekwa na serikali. I kid you not. JRN Tube anasema Lean is not the first one to sell agony. Even Oprah used to do it. What is happening to Oprah now? Oprah is being cancelled. Once they realize that she's a plant, once they realize that she's been put there by the establishment to disrupt attention, to zombify the black community, to radicalize the women, the feminist movement. What is happening now? She's being cancelled. Oprah sahi alijaribu, she tried to fundraise money for the Maui fires in Hawaii. It turned out hiyo moto ni hao walikuwa wanachoma wakiwa na The Rock. They tried to raise money, they didn't raise a penny because she's being cancelled. So if Oprah is being cancelled over the same reasons that we are talking about here, about the local creators over here, then you shouldn't be quick to profile me that I'm jealous, I'm what. No, we have to, for Oprah especially, it is very long. It is a long one because she has influenced so many new wave feminists. Now, them, they were innocent because they thought that, she's one of us, she's talking about girl power and then blacks. But she's been, in fact, if you look at the Epstein flight logs, I'd tweeted that photo. If you look at the Epstein flight logs, Oprah was a frequent visitor at that Epstein Island. And what was happening there? Those guys, you know what they were doing with young girls. We don't have to elaborate. We don't have to be so graphic. Then kukakuwa connected na shule anakuanga nayo ya wasichana iko South Africa. And she was I'm keen on educating young girls and nini. Hiyo story na Epstein zikakuwa connected mahali. And so people realize, oh man, she's been part of all this shit all along. So if we are talking about Oprah in that context, then let's not make people as if they are special, as if they are sacred cows. No. We should talk about, this is the content we've been consuming. It was planted deliberately to distract our attention. Now, once you know that your attention has been distracted, then you will appreciate your importance. You will not appreciate your importance if you, number one, if you're not alert that there exists such grand schemes of things. That they are, you will not be alert, and you will not understand that you are in the diaspora to serve a purpose. You're not there to go and continue living the low vibrational life that you are living in Kenya. You left Kenya for a reason. You gave up on Kenya for a reason, as we are still fighting for the country. Now, once you get there, we can join together to reboot, to recalibrate your patriotic senses, to your patriotic imperative. So that the reason why you left Kenya, first of all, is because you are not socially and politically conscious. You understand? Me, I can see Kenya's potential. I can see it in 3D. I can see it in 360 degrees. That's why I cannot leave my country. I want to be part of the change. Now, let's first agree that you have left the country because you have given up. You, in some way or another, you have given up. Now, you have given up because you were driven. You did not give up voluntarily. You were driven. You were goaded. Have you ever seen a cow being taken to a cattle dip? You are goaded. You are guided to the slaughter. You know, like a cow or a goat, like that. You have you ever seen when they're being taken to the natural selection, when they're being taken to a slaughterhouse? They just go, and then this one goes, and then so you did not leave Kenya voluntarily. You think you left voluntarily? Yeah, you think you paid your own ticket? You think you did? No, 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 no. There is a psychological approach, because you've been so averse, you've been so aloof, you've been so distanced from the political process. You were just like, now if you look at the people in the 90s who first left. And now in the 90s, there were still people who were clamoring for change. So like when Raila was giving us his story, he was detained in 1982, then he left sometimes in 1988, then he was detained again, then he came out at some time 1991. That's when Moi started now being pressured properly to accept opposition politics. But opposition also became our democracy became a game of smoke and mirrors. The white establishment, the IMF and the World Bank, was still calling the shots. So we had an illusion of democracy. We had this semblance. First of all, wakaenda pale Kasarani wakasema section 2A, which had been introduced in 1982 after the attempted coup. We hear the attempted coup. So Moi became so paranoid, he cracked down on people's civil liberties. So there were Kenyans who were still fighting, but low key. You understand? But everyone else was living their best lives. Everyone else, think of your father, think of your grandfather. They were living their best lives. You understand? So you think that you went voluntarily to America, but you were guided there through the propaganda, through the hopelessness, through they invaded our most personal and intimate spaces. You understand? It's like Uhuru's presidency. I told you, when did I stop going to church? It's 2014. Why did I stop going to church? Because I would go there and listen to subtle pro-government sentiment from the pastors. I would go there and I hear them say, nasikia naona Uhuru kama amefanya kazi mzuri sana. I'm like, yo, bro, I came to church to run away from Uhuru and his propaganda bullshit. Why am I hearing that same crap in this church? So I stopped going to church. But there are more people who continued going to church. They continued entertaining everything that was happening around them, because they did not have the foresight. They did not have the vision to see that this is the game which is being played. Me, I saw it a long time ago. I unplugged. 2017, when I voted for Raila, I took a photo of my vote. I posted it on my social media. I was isolated by my immediate friends. I became now a pariah. I became now a black sheep. Like, now this guy, Judas cow. Now Kekevole is telling you something about a Judas cow. Judas cow he's talking about, in Kansas there's something called a Judas cow. There's the cow amongst the other cows which leads, its only work is to lead the others to the slaughterhouse. So you go, it's slaughtered, it moves on the other side and comes back another time, if tomorrow, if next week, evil. Now it's called the Judas cow. It's the one which leads the others to the slaughterhouse. You understand? But it's surviving. It lives on the mantra that the axe and the forest, that you know that analogy. So it thinks that one day it will not also face the same fate. So it leads, it gets in there, blah blah blah. Eventually, when they breed and they train another one, then they will have no business with this one. It will, and the fate will be the same at the end of the day. So I started seeing I started seeing that myself, not just me, a few, there were a couple of other people, but the voices were so drowned. Even how can I say? It was so embedded, that propaganda. Even I'm falling out with my own family members. Can you imagine falling out? Can you imagine how that propaganda is permeated? Has permeated that I'm falling out with my own family members. Eh? People within my community. I would meet people, because I told you I unplugged a long time ago. So I stopped taking risks. My friends were taking risks. They were taking tenders. They were doing what? All of them are broke now. Walichotwa, wakafanywa manini, were done the most. So I would go to my locals, naenda kwa local, and then people would know me because I started using social media a long time ago, so I had big platforms. And then a guy would come and tell me, wewe unapiga serikali wewe, wewe unapiga serikali wewe. And then afterwards, I'm just catching my drink over there, and then afterwards you see a guy, he first tells you, unajua Uhuru amekuwa anointed by God, and then he's been, aujui mogo wa Kefiru, wale wa Kikuyu, those Kikuyu elders wamemuanoint, he's the chosen one. Who are you to stop? Ananipatia ma lecture hapo, mimi namsikiza tu na upuzi yake. I'm just listening in to with his crap. And then after ananipatia lecture ya 10 minutes, nimemsikiza tu hapo na ujinga yake. Ananiambia, bro, si unishikie ka drink kamoja, si unishikie. Nimwambia, oyo, unaniambia nikushikie nini? Si uende uombe kwa huyo Mungu wako anaitwa Uhuru. Si uende umuombe. So the propaganda was so permeated. Now back to the Moi era. The Moi era, this was not a one-day event. Things just started going slow. Unaanza kuona World Bank nini, wakaleta structural adjustment programs. Rahimtullah Omar anasema, in the medieval Europe, they believed that the kings were anointed by God. Actually, if you go to Romans, the book of Romans in the Bible, there is a verse there which alludes to the same, which says that leaders are chosen by God. That's why they have invested in the church, because they need to perpetuate the myth that leaders are chosen by God. That you need to suffer on earth before you get to heaven, an imaginary place, a utopic place. But you go to Switzerland today, where your leaders, where it has been proven by the Pandora Papers that your leaders have been hiding money, you go there, it is heaven on earth. You go to Switzerland today, is heaven on earth. Well, without even profiling you, there is a guy here from Switzerland who comes. There are two people. There's a guy from Denmark. There's a guy from Switzerland. Anytime they pull up here, in America, your minimum contribution on this YouTube live is $1.99, right? The guys in Switzerland and Denmark, do you know what their minimum is? Is $4.99. That's just to give you an illustration of the standard of living in those countries. It is very high. You can't compare it to America. Now, those guys have created their heaven on earth. You are told you have to die. You have to assume another spiritual form to access heaven. Asante sana Kevin Omondi, karibu sana. You have to depart from this physical body for you to appreciate heaven. You see? So they had invested so much in the propaganda machinery, in the churches, all the churches. Like now, this guy we are talking about, the guy who was the Anglican Archbishop, he was called Eliud Wabukala. Then he had sent a circular to all the churches promoting Uhuru's imaginary achievement. Ian Goge, man, you are my supporter, from day one, man. Ian Goge ako UK. Thanks, bro, man. Asante sana. You've been my supporter from day one. Asante sana. You are the reason I'll be pulling up here every day. Even if no one else comes, you're the reason I'll be pulling up. So anyway, I'm there. I used to go to church. I was religious, bro. I'm born, baptized, confirmed, nimefanywa kila kitu in the Anglican church. So hata nikitoka sherehe, I told you I used to have these eye drops all the time. I had one in the house, one in the car, so that if I want immediately nimetoka sherehe, hata kama nimeingia 6, I used to go to church. And I used to tithe and contribute a lot of money. Then I realized, you church people, do you want my money or do you want Uhuru's money? Clearly, they made a choice. They would prefer being with Uhuru's money. So me, I used to, Evo, naeka eye drops 1 2 naingia church. Jan Yulo, I'm not controversial, please. I'm not controversial. I don't come here to troll people. I don't come here to troll women and whatever or whatever. I'm not into those controversial topics. This truth that I have, I've been tweeting it. It's just that now you people are suddenly starting to relate with it because you are also growing, and the context has changed. You know, even the global geopolitical occurrences. You know, we are now at a crossroads. Even I was telling somebody, Israel, when they were, you know, bombing Palestine, it was another day in the office. It was another day in the office for them, but they realized, oh, Jesus, shit, people are not buying our stories. That's what they realized. So even you right now, it's not controversial, but you want to label me as a controversial YouTuber because it fits in your agenda. Yeah, it fits in your narrative that that this guy is controversial, so that you can lump me with Akina Andrew Kibe and the rest. No, me, I'm here with very politically conscious. I've told you all my views are curated over decades. No, Jan Yulo, I don't listen. I'm not blasting you. I need you now to change the how you view me and how you promote me to your friends. Don't promote me as a controversial, you know, YouTuber or blogger or whatever. I need you to understand that I have, if you go like on my TikTok, no, on my Twitter, my first Twitter account was at your Bona, comments should not interrupt your flow of thought. Waweru wameona nimekuwa interrupted. I need to maintain frame. I'm going to maintain frame. So if you look at my first Twitter handle, it is at Kenya Football. I started trolling Uhuru a long time ago. I'm the only guy Uhuru had ever blocked on Twitter. I'm the only guy alikuwa ameblock. I can show you that screenshot where he had blocked me. Pen Nyang'aka, vijibambe vile sasa unataka kusema sasa, who am I? So these views of mine are curated over decades. I have looked at where things went wrong. I have zeroed in on why you Kenyans are in the diaspora to begin with, how you lost opportunities. It wasn't a one-day event. It wasn't a spectacular occurrence. It was a routine. It was a build-up. It started slowly, and it started with them capturing your spheres of influence. So they captured your intellectuals, they captured your media. What did Uhuru do? He got, and Ruto, they got these public intellectuals. They got Akina Mutahingunyi. They got all these people. David Ndii at some point was with Uhuru kabla aruke. Yeah. They got all these. They are called public intellectuals. They are the ones who used to write articles in the Nation. Every Sunday, if you remember, Nation used to platform. There was a David Ndii article, or every 2 weeks there was a Mutahingunyi article. Then there was who. So those were they call themselves the public intellectuals. They were captured so that they had subtle messaging of the propaganda of the establishment of the day. Same as your religious leaders. And so there was now the biggest strategy that religious leaders used was, if you criticize religious leaders, then immediately your criticism is inversely proportional or directly proportional to being a devil worshipper. That because you are criticizing, because now I'm telling the bishop of called Eliud Wabukala, why are you promoting Uhuru's imaginary achievement in church? I've come here to zone out. I've come here to detox from all the happenings that I'm seeing on the mainstream media. How is it ending up in my church? So Uhuru invaded our most private and intimate spaces. Yeah, he invaded them. And so I asked myself, so why my money will I go and give this corrupt clergy so that he can, Gerald Mwangi, asante sana, asante sana. So why would he invaded our most intimate spaces? So why should I take my money? Why should my cash go to oil these, to grease the palms of these corrupt clergymen who have sold us out? And what happened to Eliud Wabukala after he retired as the Anglican Archbishop? He was appointed as the chairman of what? East Africa, no, Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, EACC. Did he successfully prosecute any case? No. Did he arrest anyone for high level graft? No. Well, kazi yake ilikuwa nini? Kushika policemen extorting bribes. That's all he did. So he was well rewarded for selling out. And so I was, yes, I don't know whether you watch my video, which I posted earlier, and please be watching my video so that I don't have to keep on repeating myself. If you watch my video, the one I posted today, there is a pastor of the, no, there is a father at the Holy Family Basilica in Nairobi. It's called Father Peter Kamomoe. He did something criticizing the Uhuru Ruto regime. After the sermon, people clapped. There was an applause. And so when I finished my video, I asked the people who are watching me, if you are a pastor, when was the last time people clapped for you? You move with the times. Stop being a tumbocrat. The biggest tumbocrat now we have is Jackson Olesapit. Don't trust anything that he's saying. When the Anglican provost is called Sammy Wainaina, he's the provost of the All Saints Cathedral. He started immediately criticizing Ruto in February. What happened to him? Immediately, the government complained, huyo jamaa akapigwa transfer. Katolewa All Saints Cathedral. Jackson Olesapit is the biggest snake right now. Don't believe or trust anything. In fact, you guys should be mobilizing in your churches, in the Anglican church, to make huyu mtu kwanza atolewe. Jackson Olesapit atolewe. The standing committee of the synod of the Anglican church can do it. They can engineer it. Atolewe haraka. So you didn't, now we were talking about Kenyans in diaspora. You were so immersed in the system of the day, you did not know. And then sasa kuna kuja now, narrative. Kama hii narrative iko ya kwenda kufanya kazi Germany and everything. And so you were carried because everyone was going to the States, you were there. Everyone was going to UK, you were there. So nobody sat down and questioned why is all this happening. It's happening because, number one, our industries are collapsing. Why are they collapsing? We have high power cost. Why is the high power cost? Because we have independent power producers. Who owns those independent power producers? Moi, Biwot, Kiraitu Murungi, everyone, even Kibaki ako in the mix. Then there is IMF and World Bank. You understand? Mureithi Kiarie anasema, I watched that video and it was refreshing. So it has not been a one-day event. It's been a series of occurrences, and you are there because you are not able to. You are so engrossed. You are so immersed in the religion of the day, in the propaganda of the day, in the media of the day. So you didn't stop to ask, hey, why am I relocating to the States? Why am I being kicked out from my ancestral land? Why? This is your ancestral land. Why must you go to work in a foreign land? White Webuye ametuma kakitu amesindikiza, asante sana. Ananiambia mumsindikize. Ametuma kakitu mumsindikize. So once you connect like that, then you won't be consuming, you won't be so reckless with your media consumption. You won't be so reckless with the people you follow, with the people you retweet, with how you engage with your families back at home. You may think that I'm being hard, I'm being long. Oh, no. I have stayed in Kenya to fight the good fight. You are there because you lost your will to fight. Now, I am giving you the second chance. I'm giving you the opportunity to join the second or the third liberation of this country. We had the second liberation. So I'm giving you the opportunity to join the third liberation. The question is, are you ready, or do you want to bury your head under the sand? Almost like the time when you were leaving the country. It never made sense to me. I started questioning, even from my young age. I am like, why are we doing harambes for Kenyans to go and study abroad? Oh, because we don't have universities. Why don't we have universities? Oh, because Moi anakula pesa. That question never occurred. We continued throwing money at the problem. Did the problem resolve itself? No. Then tukaanza ya hospital bill. Why are we raising money to pay hospital bills? Oh, because pesa zinakuliwa. Zinakuliwa na nani? Zinakuliwa na national government, zinakuliwa na county. So how many WhatsApp groups are we going to open? Throwing money at the problem, while the people who are stealing are people with us, people amongst us. they are celebrated in your churches. Ukienda kwa makanisa zenyu wamekaa pale mbele. The people who are diminishing and depriving your opportunities, they are celebrated within your community setups. So I started revolting. There were people around me who were part of the Kikuyu Council of Elders. I started calling out their bullshit a long time ago. Kaambia nyi wazee hakuna kitu mnaniambia. Because everything was just about brainwash. And now there are young people who've joined all these to groupings wanajiita Watada and whatever, and then they are following some other guy called Captain Kongo to tell them about this. Captain Kongo cannot show you what he has done to mentor. But now what they do now to get into those groups, lazima ununue mbuzi sijui ngapi. So you are spending like 20 Gs. And then ukienda huko unakaa na huko. So your work is just to kuwafungulia pombe, wanunulie radish na nini. Now I'm asking this guy who is mentoring you, does he have any pattern of mentorship? Has he done anything worth mention that you are now allowing him to be your mentor? You have to be cautious about the people you follow. So it's a moment of liberation. I was a fan of Jay-Z. Big fan. I know most of his songs off head. But sasa zenye kuna time last year sasa nikaanza kuona ma story and started seeing. I'm like, this is not what I signed up for. I like your content, I like your music, I like your art. Hizi agenda zingine mmejiingiza sijui Epstein, then I started seeing my court cases huko, sijui nani amewapeleka. That's not what I signed up for. It's like Netflix. I stopped subscribing exactly 1 year ago for Netflix because then I found out other ways of streaming content chini ya maji. But I was paying Netflix because I was there. I was a committed consumer. I liked Netflix because of their content. Lakini sasa tukaanza kuona movies zingine, unaona hapa kuna agenda tunapushiwa. Here there is an agenda. Why are they pushing an agenda? I just want to be entertained. I just want to be unplugged. So for you to dismiss my observations about Lean and then reduce them to jealousy, I don't know, I'm doing what? Why would I be jealous? She's making money, but I don't think she's making that much. So it can't be about money. So I'm not hating on her because of money. But there's some other guys. Let's talk about Sauti Sol. I'm sure you guys. You guys, there are people who are untouchable. No, I like Sauti Sol. I was the first guy. Forget about you, me. I put money where my mouth is. Sauti Sol. 2009, when nobody was calling them, I invited them to Thika. But during the Uhuru presidency, there was a lot of embedded pro-government regime, pro-regime sentiment. So walikuwa naimba ngoma moja, unasikia kuna rumba ya State House na kuna rumba ya nani, that is embedded messaging. I'm trying to sharpen your instincts. Unasikia ngoma hii, na kuomba Nerea usitoe mimba yangu Mungu anaweza kuwa Kenyatta mwanzilishi wa taifa. Connect the dots. Connect the dots. So me, I love them for the art. I love them for everything. I love them for the music. I love them for their choreography. But when their relationship with the government became a bit too, it is now interfering with my mental health. And if you remember during that same time, so because Uhuru is a conman, he's a thug, Sauti Sol did a lot to, endear him to the public. What did he do? He shafted them. Uhuru is like the mother, is a thug, like the brother. If you look at the stories that we've been covering about Uhuru's family and how they've stolen money, like Mohoho, how he stole SportPesa from people who are his friends. These guys have no loyalty. They've acquired this trait. They've acquired this trait from their mother. The mother is a poacher. And she started being featured on New York Times in the 1970s, stealing, poaching elephants. If you went to Mombasa Road, you see the way, I don't know how I can tell you, you see the way you see cows when you're going in those Samburu, unaona ng'ombe zimejaa kwa barabara. That's how people used to see elephants. That's how people used to see elephants. Mama Ngina was just poaching them. She was on the front page of the New York Times in 1975. New York Times for poaching. They were calling her the Ivory Queen. If you Google the Ivory Queen, you're going to see it was Mama Ngina. So they have acquired this trait from the mother. So back to Sauti Sol. Sauti Sol were key figures, pillars of the Uhuru presidency. And there was an unwritten agreement that we are going to push some content that will, get to the masses, and you're going to do something. So at some point, then there was Uhuru pitched an idea. No, Sauti Sol pitched an idea to Uhuru. It was called Studio Mashinani. They were supposed to set up studios in every county, which will now, create, a new wave of musicians, to nurture musicians from the grassroots. And so they pitched it to Uhuru. What did Uhuru take? He took that blueprint, he gave it to the CS of the information called Joe Musheru, and then they ran with it on their own. And they launched some Studio Mashinani, something. Kulikuwa na concert ilikuwa ya KICC, ilikuwa na kina Richie Spice, dem mwingine anaitangwa aje, dem anaimanga when you see the chariot rolling. Juu nilikuwa hiyo concert. So me, I did not know. Me, I was just going there for the music, for the art. So ndio nikaona Sauti Sol nao siku moja, I don't know whether they were drunk, akina Bien wakalipua wakasema, oh, this is Uhuru stole our idea, nini. This is all in the public domain, but you, because you've been following low vibrational energy from who, you cannot know these things, so let me piece them for you. So wangeniuliza ningewaambia Uhuru is an idiot. You can't trust him. He is ready to shaft you anytime. Uhuru only believes that the people who will benefit, or the people who deserve to live a comfortable life, are his classmates, the ones he went with to St. Mary's, and Muzungus, the ones who work for him. Etana, yes, Eric Dolphy. Unakumbuka hiyo concert ilikuwa na Richie Spice, Etana, and huyo mwingine alikuwa nani? Sio Jakiwa. There was another star performer ule alikuwa I was there for because and then it had been funded by Gava, so VIP ticket ilikuwa kama 1000, nikashindwa then ndio nikaona much later, like 2 years later, ndio Sauti Sol, they came up and said, hey, we've been we were shafted by Uhuru. Luciano, yes, Luciano ni alimaliza hiyo concert. Eric Dolphy ulikuwa huko, naona ulikuwa huko. It was around and then they fell out because Sauti Sol were always at State House events. You remember when Obama came to Kenya, Sauti Sol ndio walikuwa pale. They had been given a proper plaque. For them, it was mind blowing. They did not know that Uhuru is an energy drainer. When you're with Uhuru, he's always the winner at the end. Have you ever been around people who are the energy drainers? It's taken me a long time to understand that concept. That you are with this person, unaenda nyumbani, you are with this person, unaenda nyumbani, it's almost like umeshinda ukilima, umechoka, because they've been draining the energy from you. So Uhuru is that kind of character. You're with him, but he'll be the winner at the end of the day. So akina Sauti Sol came up, and then they say nini. Then kidogo, because mimi nikitoka na kitu, me I cannot backtrack. Akina Sauti Sol backtrack. I'm like, bro, tokeni na maripoti, semeni vile kuliendelea. And I'm like, guys. And then they apologized later. But then from then on, they were not in State House. They were not, wakachana na Uhuru kabisa. Walikuwa washapigwa stick. Walikuwa washapigwa stick re. Uhuru can never empower you. He can collapse if he feels that he's empowering an ordinary person. He can die. That's his nature. And this DNA is acquired from the mother. The mother is a poacher of repute. From historically 1975, what happened when Uhuru first got into office? Within the first 5 months, the oldest lion in the world, Satao, died. It was a coincidence, hata hiyo ni coincidence, It was the oldest tusker in the world, Satao. So if you remember, First Lady at the time, Margaret Kenyatta, akapatana na huyu mumama anaitwa nani, anaitwa Paula Kahumbu. Paula Kahumbu is an activist against poaching and the environment. She does a good work. So I think walienda mashule, unajua hao mapointi walienda shule moja huko, sijui kama ni Turi ama wapi, so they are friends. So Gerald Mwangi cha umafi. So Gerald Mwangi, you're an idiot. You're an idiot because if you are in Kenya, you'd know that everyone right now is criticizing Zakayo. Everyone. Hiyo tutaikujia. Anthony Opiti, I've seen your comments. Philippines First Lady akibribe Kenyatta to get wild animals. So so Margaret Kenyatta went on one of the walks, save the elephants, save the elephants. She didn't know because she had been invited by her pal. They used to work. They went to school together. They've known each other for years. So she went on. Kidogo akaambiwa wewe, acha na hiyo mambo ya elephants. Huko ndio mama Ngina anakulianga. Nasikia. So the idea here is, and what you should be thinking about is, whatever you have been addicted to, whatever your addiction has been, be it the music, be it the religion, be it your whatever addiction, whatever has been guiding you over the last 10 years, had probably been infiltrated by the elaborate propaganda machinery. Now, not everyone could see. Many people would see it and keep quiet. There are some people. There are always packets of dissent. Even when Moi was destroying the economy, there were people who are trying to speak, but their voice is drowned because of you're in a conveyor belt of mediocrity, and so everyone is hard to try and liberate people mentally. Even the closest of my friends were. I became a pariah. I became isolated just because I was seeing things, and I was, at some point, even in my earlier years, when I started questioning the system, even Kibaki time, everyone was profiling me. At some point, I'd started believing that I'm crazy, I'm wrong. I started because everyone is criticizing me. But it was just a clarity of thought. I could see through the nonsense. Now, are you ready to see through the nonsense if you're in diaspora, or you are ready to keep on being on TikTok there, watching people who are giving you low vibrational energy? Some of you clearly are not. Some of you still want to hold on to your nonsense. Content providers, you want to still watch all that crap, all that garbage. Na hamwezi saidika nyinyi, hamwezi saidika nyinyi. You can't be helped, Kenyans in diaspora. And I'm telling you, they are coming for you, man. All the rules, all the regulations, all the laws that they are making, they are coming for you. They want to tax you when you're still in your home countries. Ili dollars zibaki huko. So that wakichange Kenya shilling to the dollar, inaingia tu kwa bank account ikiwa huko America, ikiwa wapi, ikiwa UK, ikiwa Australia. That's what they want. So if you don't open your eyes, if you don't recalibrate your mental faculties, then you will continue being shafted. You will continue being a victim. You will continue being kupigwa stick na the system, kwa sababu hutaki kusikia, kwa sababu wewe kazi yako ukitoka. I don't want to believe that Kenyans are so busy in diaspora, we are moving from work, we are moving from here, we are changing jobs. There is that narrative nimekuwa nikiimbiwa. We are so busy, if you are busy, you'd be inventors of repute. But you still make time to watch very low grade content. We can tell you're watching it. We can tell all these characters are in business because of you. You're giving them the views, the likes. You're sending them the money. Because you have the change of environment did not awaken you. It only amplified your depravity. That is, yeah. It only amplified. The change of environment did not, it was supposed to take you there, but remember, this is an end-to-end product. End-to-end product. So you're being brainwashed from Kenya to America by the same mechanism. You can, is genius. It's genius. Yeah, just say this genius. How are people in Kenya able to manipulate Kenyans in diaspora? Those guys are geniuses. Ama unaonaje? If they put those brains to productive use, Kenya would be fighting amongst G20 countries. We would be applying to be members of G20. Hmm? If they used those mental skills, if they use them, then we would be fighting with the big boys. But look at us now, handouts nini, everything. Unatuchoma, tulitoka juu ya shida. Hamkutoka juu ya shida, mulitoka juu ya upumbavu, ujinga, lack of knowledge. My people perish for lack of knowledge, ignorance. Mungekaa chini tuanze kuongea. Hata even the amount of time you spent in the diaspora, if you look, when was the last time you had a meaningful engagement about politics? Nothing. If you're speaking from the context of Kenyan content creators who I told you have already been infiltrated. You didn't know, like now that angle of Sauti Sol, I'm sure hamkuwa mmefikiria. Hamkuwa mmefikiria. So these guys were all over. They wameingia kwa makanisa yenyu. Don't forget the pastors in Kenya stream live. So naonanga watu wako America wanafollow pastors wako Kenya na wanawapatia do mingi sana. Sasa kuna haja gani wewe ulienda America kama bado unasikiza mapasta wa Kenya? You have no benefit to the country. So there's this called Dr. Umar, the big guy. He blasts black American celebrities. And true to it, he makes a lot of sense, because he says that black American celebrities, their money is not meant to help the community. They buy rims, they buy chains, they buy materialism. They brag about the clothes they are wearing. The black American community, despite the amount of money that they have, Umar Johnson, despite the amount of money that they have, the money does not help them, does not go back to the projects. So let's talk about Kenyans in diaspora. Your money does not help anyone. It is just shoring up the foreign reserves, and it is making it easier for our political elites to continue looting and plundering the country. Because now you're providing the steady source of dollars, they are ready to destroy the coffee industry, the macadamia industry, the avocado industry, the tourism industry. There's been back-to-back messaging targeted at destruction of those countries. November, they stopped the export of avocado. The Rigiji has just been destroying coffee sector. Unsolicited reforms. Nobody asked for those reforms, but the auction had been closed for 2 months. Can you imagine how much we lost in foreign exchange? You're seeing what they're doing with tourism. You're looking at a town like Mombasa, the way it's been flooding, Kilifi, Kwale, all those are our tourism resort towns. They've been flooding. So they are killing tourism, and then I told you they wanted the tourists to be acquiring NHIF, which is not accepted in 80% of the medical institutions in the country. So they just want to kick out tourists away from Kenya. You saw what the governor of Narok did the other day. He doubled the daily rates for people visiting Masai Mara. So they are killing tourism because you've already shown them that your money is only going to, you're just sending, as you send handouts, you're just shoring up the foreign exchange reserves. Foreign exchange reserves, you're just shoring up and making it easier because they steal in dollars. They ship their money to foreign banks when they are stealing. So your money and then they come, the central bank governor, with no honor or shame. He says Kenyans in diaspora are the highest foreign exchange remittances are earning us. With no honor or shame, he is celebrating gains, achievements, not even as a consequence of their intervention. He's celebrating that you guys looked for your own opportunities, went abroad, and now are sending money to help your distressed family members, and that is now used for gloating. They use those numbers now to go to World Bank to ask for money. They are saying they are, because they are on the back end. They are showing the World Bank and the IMF. Look at this is what Kenyans in diaspora are sending. So based on these projections, we can pay this loan. Now World Bank today gave out, I don't know how many $billions of loans in support within the next 3 years. That money will not come to make any Kenyan project. It will not fix anything. It will be embezzled. World Bank, they know that very well. But it's almost like giving an alcoholic, feeding them with more of their. Jonathan is telling you $12 billion. That's what World Bank committed to provide between 2024 and 2026. They know that this money will not be used for anything. They know it will go into the pockets of this government, and now it will be sent back to their countries. But based on your remittances, they can go and tell World Bank, look, we can pay based on these dollars which are coming in, because they can, and then now but you don't play stupid games. Just say what next. You're silent. Who is this guy now? Who is that idiot? So they know the numbers. So your money has not helped anyone. You have just been oiling the same engine of corruption. You have been on that grind. And so, and I tell you that, you catch feelings. You say, oh, guys, stop blasting diaspora viewers. We are your biggest supporters. Anthony Maina Dioyo. Unaona? You don't want to relate. You don't want to connect. You don't want to understand how you are where you are. You don't even want to make interventionist measures. You want to, of course, you want to read the news. You want me to come here and entertain you. I'm not able to entertain you with the knowledge that I have, with the kind of news that I see. When I see the news and I see how people are taken for fools, I go crazy. And I cannot understand why you're not seeing it. I don't understand why you are there and you're not able to relate to your family members that it's a mistake what you're doing. You are the ones, I told you, you have the power, you have the money. Stop saying you support me. You support your families. I've only been doing this. I only started doing live last week. So stop saying you support me. Please take that back. You support your families. Every day, every week, you send money. Now, I've just been trying to tell you that no, when you're talking with them, because money is power. When you're giving somebody your money, they'll have a tendency of listening to you. So I'm telling you, why are you having these conversations? Are you having these conversations with your family members? Are you having when you're sending money to your family, to your friends, to everyone? Are you having conversations as regards to governance? Because we are in an era of unprecedented access to information, thanks to TikTok, thanks to all these other apps. Even though I'm no longer on TikTok, I'm happy that new creators are being onboarded every other day. I'm happy. Every week I can see somebody trending, and what I do, I just download, I share the video. Like now, last week, there's this guy who had blasted Ruto. Guy, apparently he was a CEC somewhere in Nyandarua County. The guy blasted him a good one. Nita B, if you want to go to diaspora, you go, but don't go with it's the mind that matters. It's not the physical location. It's the mind that matters. Anthony Maina, I'm gonna block you. Anthony Maina, I'm gonna block you. Namwandika hapa so that I can, like now hapa najua na block nani. Send Sean John Analytics, Elvis Kimathi na Anthony Maina. If you continue asking those stupid questions. Siko hapa, I'm not here to entertain your nonsense. Yeah, we are here to have discomforting truth. We are here to talk about where we are not here by coincidence. We are not here by accident. It's been a premeditated. It's been a conveyor belt of interventions that have led us to here. I'm not happy that I had to break up with my family, with my friends, because I've spent a lot of money. I've spent a lot of time, not money. I've spent a lot of time traveling in the Middle East, and I have friends. And like now, one of the person I used to work with in Egypt told me, Elvis Kimathi, wewe nakublock Sean John Analytics na Anthony Maina block you can be running Steve Mutumbu na Steve Mutumbu. Nilikuwa nashindwa who was the last one. Mutumbu. The idiots who say we are hata hawajaituma kitu. They are the idiots shouting, oh, we are the ones who support you. Go support Nyako. Tashinda hapa ukituimbia hapa nini? We are the ones who support you. We are the ones who support. Bro, I've been on TikTok since last year for a whole year without receiving a penny from people. I only started doing lives last week. Sasa umeona sasa ni wewe unanilipia hii stima? Nonsense. We have to talk about why you are where you are. During COVID, I covered a story. I made it. A chick had come from diaspora. A chick, na pen Nyagaka. Nyagaka. So, a chick had come from diaspora. I don't know whether it was where. She came, she went to Gatanga with her uncle, and then they went, it was during lockdown, and then they went, had drinks at a club in Thika called Garage. And then as they were driving back on Thika Road at a place called Ndarugo, she had an accident and died. You understand? She had an accident and died. Because of what? Because Thika Road never has electricity lights. You understand? Thika Road never has street lights, functional street lights. And so I was wondering, this girl had come back to Kenya with so much hope, but she did not know. Had she, been engaging with the actual, political commentary of the day, she would have known not to drive at night at that black spot. And also that we have been pursuing, we have been, like now that tenderpreneur who has been given the tender of Thika Road, I know him. He's an idiot. He's an asshole. His friends, I have a lot of mutual friends with him, but they worship him because he buys them alcohol. Men are bigger prostitutes than women. You understand? Men, if you buy them alcohol, they can do anything. Yeah? If you buy, ukinunulia wazee alcohol, wanaanzanga kukupraise hapo. You understand? So that lady died, and I use my platforms because you guys see me today. Me, I've been so on the grind on this story. Munijui sasa, and I've been doing it for free. Sasa wewe umekuja hapa hata hujatoa pesa, hata una pesa. You're in diaspora first of all because you are unable to survive in this country. Now I'm giving you the blueprint of how you're going to reverse that approach to your diaspora experience, so that you can make something out of yourself. And then you are here telling me ati umenitolea pesa, na sijaona jina yako ukinitolea pesa. Anyway, kuna mtu ameniambia hiyo story ya Egypt imeenda hivyo. So I had some business partners in Egypt, and so I went there, and that guy was telling me that in between Egypt and Lebanon, he knows 3,000 cousins. He knows 3,000 cousins who share the same name with him. I won't tell you the name, but 3,000 cousins, and they are still in the country. Those places, civilization has been there for many years. So, and they are spread between Middle East and North Africa. So, in between Lebanon and Egypt, he has 3,000 cousins. Now, me, all my cousins are scattered wengine wako Europe, wengine wako America. Why are we being divided? Them they are a cohesive unit. Eh? Then they are cohesive units. Pen Nyagaka, I need to send you some cash. Send that cash to your to your boyfriend. Kwa sababu unaonekana kama wewe ni msichana. Send that cash to your boyfriend. Your boyfriend probably needs it more. Sitaki pesa inakuja na matusi. Tushinde hapa ukiniimbia, nimepea. The people wenye watu wangi pesa ndio wanajinanga wamepiga kelele. Nimetoa pesa. Ni wenye wanaendanga kwa bar. Wanaendanga kwa bar, wanaona waiter, wanaanza kuuliza, kwani unafikiri hatuna pesa? Kwani instead of ukae chini uziwe pombe, unaendanga hapo kama umeanza, kwani wanafikiri hatuna pesa? So hao ndio nimewaona, hao ndio kelele yao ndio. So anyway, he has 3,000 cousins who share that name. That's how long civilization has been. But you know, us, we have gone through a lot of disruptions from the white man, from slavery, from what? Yeah, from everything. So you can't even tell. Where is the manager? You can't even tell who your cousins are because, and then sasa, like we were talking about the forceful displacement by Kenyatta of Mount Kenya people because he wanted to take their land in Mount Kenya region. So Elvis Kimathi, to redeem himself, ametuma 2 euros. Kumbe uko diaspora and you're behaving like a chokora. So anyway, hakuna wewe mtumbu, si ukae huko, hakuna mtu anakuambia ukuje. Nani amekubembeleza ukuje? So because I spent some time there in Egypt and I saw 3,000 people. 3,000 cousins bearing the name, and they know each other. They are in networks. I think Facebook, they had a Facebook family group or something, and it was very active. And so it started dawning on me that us, we are products of a very toxic environment. Because even the black people who inherited this country, they became worse than the colonialists. They became worse. Like now, the Kenyatta family became worse. We're talking about the forceful displacement. Why are there Kikuyus in Molo, Burnt Forest, Kitale, all those regions? They were forcefully displaced. Why are there Kikuyus in Lamu? They were forcefully displaced. Because Kenyatta wanted the land. He had all the land in huko Northlands. He has 30,000 hectares. Huku kwingine nini kunaitwaje? Huku kwingine kunaitwa Kenare Forest nini. That's prime land that he was interested in. Prime land that he, and so it was forceful displacement. You can imagine how many families don't know. You can imagine how many people are marrying each other. Haya, niko na 20 minutes inaniambia niko na 20 minutes. My battery is almost out, so I'll do 10 minutes. So you can imagine how many people don't know each other. You can imagine how many people who are related marry each other. You can imagine. You can imagine because you are forcefully displaced, so you don't know this guy is your cousin. Before I'm distracted again, there's another guy. I kid you not, this is a true story from a friend. Kid you not. Ameenda kurashia. Kumbe the dad alikuwa amecheza away huko. He knew, but he didn't have the direct clue. So wameenda kurashia, this guy is with this chick. And the dad, immediately he got to that, function, the dad akaona, guy, Jesus, Uyuni, this is my daughter. So my son is coming to Russia with my daughter with another woman. It's crazy, It's crazy, Because we are so displaced, and all of it is based on the economy. You're displaced going to look for a job. You're displaced, you're traveling to this country, you're going to do this. So you don't even know your families. I've just given you a brief illustration that somebody in Egypt has 3,000 cousins because their civilization has been intact for the longest. As within the last couple of centuries, we've experienced slave trade. If you've gone to Wasini, kuko kuna pale walikuwa wanapitia where you know the door of no return, where once you get there you get into the boat. Sasa ni slave trade. So slave trade was happening here. It was coordinated from Zanzibar by people from Oman. It's the Arabs who are coordinating the slavery and slave trade. They were the merchants. And for that to happen, we were being sold off by our own people, our own tribal chiefs. Kanye West anasemanga, we used to be kings and queens back at home, but because you are the ones in America, now the black Americans, forget now the diaspora ones, because you are the ones who are in America, you then it means that us, we were the ones who were saved, and them, they were of a lower caste. That's why they were sold off. We were sold off by our leaders. Look at colonialism. Look at the senior chiefs. Look at people like Koinange, Senior Chief Koinange. Those are the ones who are selling us to the colonialists. So we have experienced such disruption, such forceful displacement. You only know 2 or 3 cousins, 2 or 3. I've just given you 3,000 cousins. Them, they don't go out of the country. They have all the hospitals, they have universities. They don't go looking for menial jobs somewhere because the economy is functional for them. So me, Shadi Kosgei, thank you for the big ups. So me, I'm just seated here. I don't like that I had to be forcefully split from my family. I don't like it. I don't like that I have my friends after high school, my friends tuanzie wale tulikuwa tunasoma nao, the ones we were close with, 50% wameenda diaspora. 50% wameenda diaspora. Now you can imagine the trauma, you can imagine the shock, you can imagine kuna friend yangu alifly out. I was so depressed. And I kept on asking myself, this is not how it should be. And so through my other business initiatives, I've been able to travel. And the most illuminating country is Iran. That I've been to is Iran. Iran, everything of theirs is so intact, and that's why the Western establishment is so crazy. They are going bonkers because these guys, they are telling you, we don't need your money, we don't need your IMF loans and World Bank loans, as we are going to hack it. We have our oil. So it was one of the most, because I told you, I'm a conscious and ethical tourist. I don't go somewhere just to look and to take selfies and to do what. I go and study and I look at the system and I learn. And so if I'm able to decipher these from a 5-day, 10-day trip to a country, I'm wondering, you guys are in America. You've lived there for years. You mean you cannot connect these dots? You can't see you can't see what we've been played for. We've been punked for many years. Other people are not having it. Other people have their societies intact, their families intact, they have their land intact. Now you're being displaced because all of this is a battle for land. And we've been talking about Bill Gates. I don't know whether he owns this platform. Siku hizi unaenda kuslanda Bill Gates unakuta umechotwa. But he's been so aggressive in Kenya. And why is it so aggressive? First of all, he's been acquiring land in the US. And number 2, he's been in Kenya funding issues about malaria, even in America. So malaria, everyone thinks that malaria, we have always been getting sick with malaria all my life. Hata unaona kama like this black spot is a mosquito. Me, malaria inanipenda hivi. But they've been coming, they genetically modify the mosquitoes here, so they are no longer giving malaria. But don't forget, malaria has been our silent savior. If you look at Africa, sub-Saharan Africa, the places which have not been inhabited by Muzungus, ni kule kulikuwa na malaria. In fact, Israel would be in Uganda and Kenya. From Mai Mahiu to Uganda, huko ndio Israel ingekuwa. But in as much as they are looking for other reasons, malaria was because malaria ikipata wazungu inawachapa wana dedi, wana kuf dead. For black people, it's different. Si tunakunywanga tu, unakunywa malaria queen, uko sawa. Unakunywa nini uko sawa. but for wazungus wakipata malaria. So there is a guy who owned a bar pale Buffet Park. He was in Mombasa. He got dengue fever. Dengue fever is the Mombasa equivalent of malaria. And then he went to Israel and he died because of malaria. Why? Because they don't know how to treat malaria. They don't even have the meds to treat malaria in those countries. Johann Ludwig Kraft's wife died of malaria, Eric Dolphy. Malaria has been our silent protector. Ukiangalia every other place which doesn't have malaria but had black inhabitants, kwote kumekuwa wameingia wakiwachuja wazungu wanaingia kama wamewatoa. Huku walishindwa kuingia kwa sababu ya nini? Na ndio unaona Bill Gates is so obsessed about malaria, kwa sababu siku moja watakujia hizi mashamba ndio haja yao. Mashamba hawana kitu kingine. Wale watu wanataka wakuje wamtoe kwa mashamba yenu. Sasa ndio wanamtafutia kazi huko, wenda ya Germany, enda wapi, ili huku kuachwe hivi mashamba yetu wakujie. Mashamba yetu wakujie, kwa sababu nyinyi wote hamko. So who will fight for the land when they come? Who will fight for it? Nyinyi wote mko diaspora, mnafuata TikTok pale wasichana wakitwak, mnafuata nyako akitukanana na akodhe. So who will fight? And you know the war now is becoming more sophisticated. It's starting from ideological. It's an ideological war. It's a battle of the minds first. They have to colonize you a second time, the minds. They have to brainwash you. They have to impose puppets as your leaders, so that you have to worship their God. You have to depart from your own identity. You have to acquire their names and mannerisms. All of that is not coincidental. It is a grand scheme. I told you these guys, they play games of 100, 300 years ahead. Wewe unachezea tu hapa, una hand to mouth. Nitakula nini, nitamuka wapi? Sasa mtu kama huyo anaitwa Pen Nyagaka. Huyo ni mtu anaingia TikTok pale, anaangalia content, ananyonga. Na kuna mafamily huku Kenya wanafikiri ati huyo mtu ako huko juu anafanya vitu za maana, kumbe ako TikTok tu ananyonga na Joki Morera. You understand? Ananyonga na live za Joki Morera na anatuma do huko. So the colonization continues. The next wave. You remember when they were colonizing us, they had to come and sell the idea to our leaders. The leaders then sold it to the people. They said, this white man ni mzuri, atakuja. And within a span of a few decades, landowners were condemned to be settlers on their own land. No, not settlers, squatters on their own land. You've moved from being a landowner, now you are a squatter. It's amazing, eh? You have to clap for these Muzungus, how they were, because it was not for, they didn't use guns per se. They didn't bring a war here. They didn't bring an army here. It was all voluntary. Walikuja wakamuingiza kwa kanisa. You worship their God. You stopped worshiping your God. You stopped your, elevating your traditional healers. You started besmirching them and calling them witch doctors. People who had maintained our gene, our race for centuries, for millennia. Sasa mukaanza kuwachukia, mukaanza kuwatusi, mukaanza kuwadharau. So when you are there, I'm wondering, me, when I go to, within a week, if I stay in a foreign country, immediately I've learned a lot. Nyinyi mnaendanga huko kufanya nini? Kuingia kwa disco na kukunywa pombe. Kazi ni disco. Mkienda Amerika, kazi ni kuingia huko kuona wasichana wale wanaitwa aje kule, kunaitwa strip club. You know, the first wave of Americans hawako wameona strip club, of Kenyans in diaspora hawako wameona strip club. So walipotelea huko wakienda kuona wasichana, because those things were not common in Kenya. They were, we were under a dictatorship of Moi. So you pulled up there, you nini. So you could be physically in a foreign country, but akili bado ni ile uliacha Kenya. bado ni ile uliacha huku. Akili ni ile ile, toxicity ni ile ile, your addiction to cheap thrills ni zile zile. Kuna mtu alikuwa ako America, anaitwa nani, Cosmo Choi. Cosmo Choi, this guy who was campaigning for Ruto. So today I think he did a post, was it yesterday or today? Akaambiwa we nyamaza wewe mzee, akaambiwa siku hizi tunasikiza gaidho, we nyamaza, because you've realized that you've been listening to a bunch of scammers, a bunch of frauds. This guy has no intellect, amekuwa tu anatoka pale anaongea matusi, na huyo ndio akikuja Kenya anaingia State House anapatana na Ruto. That is how the strain of anti-intellectualism has permeated, and it is deliberate, because now they elevate the dumbest of the people so that you can follow them, subconsciously, and then they can continue spreading their agenda. That's how it should be. Lakini leo nimeona watu kama watatu wamenitag, wanamwambia we nyamaza wewe mzee, sasa hatukusikizi, tutasikiza gaidho. It's called Cosmo Choi, anakuanga America. Sijui kama mnamjua Cosmo Choi. Very toxic guy, has no sense. So, ukisikia akiongea, the space between his ears is empty. He has no logic, he has no facts, he has no context. Anatokanga tu matusi morning till evening. Ni kama wametoka village moja na Pen Nyagaka. I think they are from the same village. Cause hiyo ujinga inakaa ni kama imetoka ni kama walienda shule moja. So anyway, my battery inaniambia ni hivyo, ndio tunaenda tu tukielimisha watu. Share the live, hata kama hautumi pesa, you can do us a service, you can share this link, you can promote my page to your friends, so that I can come here. I'm motivated to see the comments. I'm motivated to see that we are 255. We are 250. Leo tumefika karibu 300 leo. Tumefika karibu 300. Asante sana. Kesho tuko hapa. Kesho tuko hapa kama kawa. Munisikii?